Hi everyone, this is Mohit. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the second day of our 60 days video series on statistics for data science. In the last video, we started with the basics of statistics, guys, in which we discussed about the definition of statistics. We looked at it from two different sources. First one from the Wikipedia and the second one from the Chat GPT, guys. Right? And there I introduced the concept of Chat GPT, or the tool basically where you can interact with the AI and you can ask any question. It will generate human-like responses. So I would suggest, if you have not watched that video, definitely watch that video first, guys, and then you can come here. Okay. The second topic we discuss about is the sampling process, which is very important, and that's what we are going to continue in this particular video. And at the end, we introduced few terminologies which are very important from the statistics foundation perspective, right? So now one request, if you are new to this particular channel, guys, please subscribe the channel and hit the icon button so that you do not miss out any of the video. And please like the video, guys, if you are liking the content, because lot of time I am spending on this particular part to create such videos, guys. Okay, so without wasting more time, let's move to the screen and start with today's topic. All the sampling techniques which we have in the statistics, guys, we have divided them into two categories. First one is probabilistic techniques and another one is non-probabilistic techniques. Now under these two categories, we have multiple sub techniques which we can use to extract sample from the population. Now which one to choose, that depends on lot of factors, guys. That will depend on the researchers or your statistician who is collecting the data as well. Now apart of that, there are a lot of factors like how much time or money or effort someone can put to extract the sample from the population, right? And how much accuracy you want in your sample. Like you want your sample to be a representative of your population. Now for that you have to spend more time, money and effort, right? So each technique is having its own advantages and disadvantages that we will keep on discussing along with each of the technique, right? So now let's get started with the sampling technique, guys. That is probabilistic one. So now probabilistic sampling techniques, in that we use randomization selection. So the elements from the population we will pick based on some randomization technique, right? Now the purpose of probabilistic sampling technique is that every element in the population should get equal chance to get included in the sample. That's the major difference from the non-probabilistic. There in non-probabilistic, we do not give the same chance or probability to the individual element of the population to get included in the sample. Okay, so in probabilistic, we provide every element same chance to get included in the sample. Now there are four techniques we are going to discuss from probabilistic sampling technique, guys. Now the first one is simple random sample. Then the second one is systematic sampling technique. Then we have the stratified one. This is the most interesting one, and we generally use it in machine learning as well, right? And the fourth one is cluster sampling, guys. So let's get started with the first one, which is simple random sampling. From the name itself, guys, it's very pretty simple, right? Random sampling. Randomly we will pick element. Now we will take the same example of average data scientist salary and we will try to get or explain this for all the techniques, guys. Okay, so now just let's start with an example. Lot of you would have played the game of cheats in a box, right? So there is a box and then there will be name of individuals on the cheats, and those cheats will be present in the box, right? And then someone will randomly pick one cheat. Whoever name come into that particular cheat, he will be selected, right? So this is nothing but random sampling, guys, and we are using this technique for a long time. So that's why this is the most common technique we use in the real world, right? So we have our population and then we have sample. We need to extract our sample. So what we do, we assign numbers. Like if I need to formalize it, then how we can do that, guys? So For every individual in our population, we will assign some number like 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10 lakh, right? And then from that, we will pick random numbers, let's say 1, 11, 30, 48, and like that, right? So now, based on that, we will select the sample, whatever predetermined number of units we want in our sample, right? We will select based on that. So this is our random sampling technique. Now the advantage of this technique, guys, that it's very simple, right? You do not need to spend money on top of it. You do not need to know about the population or their characteristics, right? So that's why it's simple to use, inexpensive. So that is why it's very popular. Now there is a disadvantage of this technique, guys. Now what is the disadvantage? It's very vague, guys, that when you are picking the sample randomly or units randomly, it might happen that all the elements, or let's say all the people, or let's say data scientists, right? They have the same characteristics. Now, when I'm saying characteristics, let's say all of them which we have picked from the population, because we are picking randomly, so they can belong to one particular location. Let's say all of them are from Bangalore, guys. Right? Let's say because we are picking random, so it may happen that in our random sampling, we have picked all the sample or all the units from single location, or majority of them are from the single location. Now, what will happen in Bangalore? We know that the salary is little bit higher as compared to other demographics in India, right? You compare with Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Delhi, Noida, definitely you will find Bangalore side we have more salary, right? So now because of this, your sample might be having sampling bias, right? So finally, when you will calculate the average of DS, data scientist salaries, that will not represent the population. So this is a problem. This is a disadvantage with random sampling technique, right? So you understood? Definitely, it's very easy to use, but there is a drawback as well. Now that drawback is coming because we are not spending time on the population characteristics. We, for this particular technique, we do not need to understand the population characteristics. Now let's move to the second type of probabilistic sampling technique, that is systematic sampling, guys. Now in systematic sampling, it's very similar to random sampling, guys, but we just made it more systematic, right? So what we were doing in random sampling, we had numbers assigned to individual in our population, and then randomly we were picking from that population, right? Now in this particular case, systematic sampling, again we assign numbers to individual. Let's say this is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and like that, right? So we have till 10 lakh. Now what we will do, based on some interval that we will decide how many units we want in the sample, we will have a particular interval, and based on that interval we will pick the elements. So let's say that interval is uh, 2, let's say, right? Then we will skip 2 elements and then we'll pick alternative, right? So step size is 2, and then we are picking the element from our population. So here what we have done, we have just systemized it. That's it, right? So it's very similar to random sampling, and the way we are picking, it's not random, it's basically based on some interval, right? And that is being decided by the number of elements we want in our sample, right? Now this problem can, again, the advantages and disadvantages are more similar to simple random sampling, guys, because it's again a very random technique, right? It may happen that all the data scientists which we are picked in our sample belong to one particular, let's say, demographic, or it may happen that all of them are like male, right? So that will again impact the final sample output, right? So that is why, that is another, like, so advantages and disadvantages are similar to random sampling techniques. Okay. Now we'll move to the next one, which is very interesting and which tries to solve this particular problem, guys. When we have multiple groups in our population, then we need to understand the population characteristics. And then across different groups, we need to collect sample units. How do we do that? Now, for this particular case, just imagine average data scientist salary we want to calculate, guys. Now, what will happen in stratified sampling? Let's say first we want to solve across different demographics, right? So now across different demographics, we have multiple states, or you can say city. Let's say we have Bangalore, we have Gurgaon, right? We have, let's say, Mumbai, and we have, let's say, Hyderabad. Now these are the four different subgroups which are present in our population, and we know that we need to get the accurate average data scientist salary. We need to collect equal samples, not equal samples, but our population or sample should have same proportion of data scientists in this, right? So now we need to pick elements from individual city as well, right? So there must be similar number of units from Bangalore, Gurgaon, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. So what we do in stratified sampling, guys, we create stratas. Okay, so strata is nothing but clusters, right? So we will have multiple groups. Like in this particular case, we will collect one stratum, or basically it's a singular of strata. It's stratum, right? So first stratum will represent the Bangalore, right? The second stratum will represent the Gurgaon. Third one will represent, let's say, Mumbai. And then the fourth one will represent Hyderabad. Now we have multiple data scientists from this. And now what we will do? We will randomly pick our, let's say we want to collect 10 units from individual stratum. Then we will use simple random sampling to get them from these stratums, right? So 10 Bangalore, we will take 10 units. Similarly, from Gurgaon, we will take 10 units. From Hyderabad, we will take 10 units. And from Mumbai, we will take 10 units. Right? So this is the beauty of this stratified sampling, guys. Our sample will be more representative of the population because we are looking into the characteristics of population, and based on that, we are actually collecting the sample units. Right? So now inside this stratified sampling, there are two steps. First one, create stratum based on the population characteristics. Now, this is one characteristic we are looking at. This, if we take about demographics, the second one can be gender, right? Male and female. Definitely, we know that there might be a difference in the data scientist salary, male and female data scientist salary, right? So now you will try to get your stratum divided based on gender as well. And then using simple random sampling, you will pick male data scientist and female data scientist as well. So this is very interesting, guys. And this particular technique we use in machine learning as well. So in one of the video, we will talk about it definitely in the future when we will learn about linear regression, logistic regression, where we will split our data set into train and test. So there we actually use it. Okay. So this is the most interesting one and most frequently used after this simple random sampling. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let's move to the fourth one, which is cluster sampling. This is also very similar to stratified sampling technique, guys. Here also we create clusters based on the characteristic of the population. Now, when we create clusters in cluster sampling, rather than picking elements from individual cluster, we completely, because sometimes what happens, let's say I am from Bangalore, then getting elements or getting data scientists from Bangalore, for me it's very easy, right? And if I need to get data scientists from Hyderabad, I need to spend more time, more effort, and I might need to travel, right? So for that, I need to spend money as well. right? So what happens? So we simplify the stratified sampling technique. And how do we do that in cluster sampling? Rather than picking element from individual clusters, we completely pick the cluster, right? So let's say rather than having elements from individual 4 clusters, what we will do, Bangalore is close to me, right? So now I can easily collect elements from Bangalore, right? So what I will do, I'll pick elements from the Bangalore. Or the second one is, let's say this is Mumbai. Mumbai is close to Bangalore. So I can go and pick elements only from Mumbai. So I will have elements in my sample from Bangalore and Mumbai cluster. Right? So here I am not picking elements from individual cluster. I am picking complete cluster as it is, right? Bangalore and Mumbai. So there will be no element from Hyderabad and Gurgaon. I know you will be saying we will be losing the accuracy representation of the sample, right? So now for that, that's why I said in the beginning, there is a trade-off, guys. How much time you need to spend, how much time or effort or money you can spend, and there will be a trade-off with accuracy of your sample representing the population, right? I hope this is clear. So there are 4 techniques we have discussed: simple random sampling, systematic random sampling. Then we have the stratified sampling. The fourth one is cluster sampling. All of them are actually belong to the probabilistic sampling techniques, guys. Thanks for watching till the end. I hope you understood the concept of sampling techniques and the first type of sampling techniques that we discussed in this particular video, guys. One request, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and hit the icon button so that you do not miss out any of the video. And guys, if you have any question or query or any feedback you want to give, please write it in the comment section. And if possible, share this particular video with your friends so that they get to know about this particular video series, which can definitely help if they are interested in data science or statistics, right? So thanks again. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye. Take care.